And I'm thinking, no way would you play on my mind and go and start waving bye-bye.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, hey.
I want to chat to you.
Yep.
About Whitstable, Umbrella Centre, Soundhouse. You've just done a show.
Just done a show. Yes, it was a very I'm going to call it a very chilled out show.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what it was. But it was also very stripped back.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, piano, no other performers, no backing singers, no other band. So very, there's always a bit more kind of, not pressure in a bad way, but it's like no eyes are only on you.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm used to that now. And yeah, we had to have the decision, didn't we, about which piano to go.
Yes.
We've got our little upright one or the big grand one. And so depending on what kind of event it is, it dictates what
piano it comes with,
what image. And of course, if you're at the grand piano, I'm at the grand piano, it makes a difference on what I wear and the whole sort of environment of the gig.
Yeah. So it was always, we were kind of on the idea it was going to be an acoustic set.
Mm-hmm.
There were 2 acoustic supports.
Yeah.
So that kind of had already predetermined what your set was going to be aimed at. And we had cabaret seating.
Yes.
So at that point, it's not going to be a rock show with a big drum kit and everything else.
Yeah.
So it was just it was almost quite a nice calm.
Yeah.
From doing Revival.
Yeah.
It was almost a back to Dulcima, which was really nice.
And it's funny because everyone will say, "Oh, what performances are you doing?" And I feel like we're kind of dipping our toe into all the different. We're trying out a big band show, and we've tested out just one with 2 backing singers. We've tested out one with the little piano, one with big, and it's like we can do permutations of any of it depending on what suits the gig and the audience and the time of day and all of that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew it was going to be calm, chill. I always call it a showcase style gig.
Yes.
Where they're sitting still, the audience is going to be sat still, hopefully not talking, watching a performance rather than dancing and engaging with it. Rather than dancing to it. And that'll make a difference on like what the set is and like I say, like how you dress and how the whole thing goes down. It was also relatively short for a set because of these 2 support acts, which again has bearing on the set, the songs I choose to play.
Yeah.
But no, it was great turning up in the day because it was the most, actually from start to finish, that was the most trouble-free gig.
Loved it.
It was so hassle-free.
So calm.
It was so calm.
And we didn't know anyone, which is always, we didn't take a sound tech, we didn't take, it was me, you, and strangers.
Yeah.
Which is always in the back of your mind, you're like, this won't go well. And actually, as long as you set your expectations there, fine. Absolutely brilliant.
It was so good. And the other thing, what was also, it's quite nice going to that kind of calm gig, like backstage, there was not loads and loads of chatter going on. There was not like lots of hubbub and lots of, which meant by the time 9 p.m. rolled around and I was on stage, I'd had hours of just calm, sitting, chilled out talking to you guys, but not loads of polite conversation that I had to make with all the other, loads of people. Which meant by the time I actually sat on the stage and started singing, I was really in such a good place physically, like vocally. And that makes a big difference. But no, you're right, going into a gig. So I think I arrived at about 4 and we started setting up the piano and I was thinking, you never know what the sound engineer, like you said, we didn't know the sound engineer. And credit to all sound engineers, they have to work on the fly. Like they have to go, okay, cool, what am I doing? They do get a bit of info beforehand, but and this guy was brilliant. He was so chilled. He was so obviously goes without saying professional, but he was particularly professional. And he was just should we move the piano? Okay, cool. Right, can we move that there? Yeah, okay. Can you use this mic? Yeah. It was all just too easy.
And I think so. A bit of background. Umbrella Centre. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about this from a really naive point because I don't know everything. I haven't researched. But I think there are Umbrella Centre is almost to a certain extent a named brand, if you like. Sort of that won't be the right word, but there are umbrella centres in places.
Yeah.
And this just happened to be Whitstable's umbrella centre.
Yeah.
Run by a guy called Craig, who was absolutely fantastic.
He was so lovely.
So accommodating.
So yeah.
And I spoke to some of his team, and the majority, I think the rest of the team are volunteers.
Yeah.
And that is the whole basis of it, is it is a volunteer run place. And they do a lot of helping. It is a charity, which is the big thing to say.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether everywhere has these, but in Whitstable's, they have the cafe, which is non-profit. They do the things like paying it forward, and it's kind of a hub for people that need help. And you can see it on every poster, on every wallboard. You know, there's a rail of coats. If you need a coat, you need a help, you need anything. They run events during the week just to get the community together.
Yeah.
And I spoke for a long time to one of the volunteers, and I just walked away feeling like I could do so much more.
Oh,
and that was kind of the attitude of it, of these, like, so good.
Yeah,
and
wow.
Being able to play there, it's been funded, I believe, by the Arts Council, for them to just have this other option, I suppose, if you like.
Yeah.
So they're quite new to it as far as music and just putting on shows. I believe they're really pleased with it. It went really, really well. They can make bar sales and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it comes from. It is something they can make money from. Not a lot, as I say, they are a charity, so it's that side of non-profit. But it was such a good. I like to do those good things to do.
Oh my goodness,
not that you should have to, but like
no, I agree.
We didn't set out for it to be a big.
It's not a profiteering, money making thing.
Yeah,
it was. Do you know what? The more I knew Umbrella Centre had, I was horribly naive as well. I knew it was a charity of some description, but to find out more and more about it on the night, I think, oh my god, my goodness, this is what I'm actually contributing to.
Yeah,
made such a big difference on by the end of that night. Even though, like we say, the show was relatively small and chilled out and quiet, I left on such a high, because of everything else. Actually, the show was brilliant, but it was like backstage or elsewhere in the venue, there were all these other things. You're like, okay, this is so much bigger and better than it shouts. It should be shouting a lot more about it. Yeah. And that's maybe the job of, with musicians going in, hopefully doing shows every month. It'll kind of add to loads more they can do.
And I think it shows. I didn't know many of the crowd. I don't know how many you really recognised.
A handful, but not.
But it very much felt like the right people had come out to support their community.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about, I'm going out to see Dulcima.
Nope.
And there was, as I said, the two supports as well.
Yeah.
Nancy and Sky Duo. So people did know people, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And if you're going to buy a ticket, you're obviously going to want to know that you like the music.
Yeah.
But it just shows how much of a difference it makes to go and support live music.
Yeah.
Regardless, especially if it's doing a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was that kind of, if you could have given up your Friday evening, I think the tickets were only about £10.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think they were a lot at all.
Huge. Yeah.
And it shows it makes the difference.
Completely. It's like
it's great.
Complete opposite. It's like attacking live music from the other end to me. Like, instead of angling to try and make it a money-making venture, which you can do, but it's really blooming hard, as we found out.
Yeah.
Just go the other route. And unfortunately, you just have to have that change of mentality of, well, I want to be playing live. What's the best that can come out of that?
Yeah.
Things like that are the best to me that can come out of that. Because in a completely lateral way, you're doing so much more. Like, yes, you haven't made stacks of money, but so many people benefited from what you've done. Yeah. Well, or at least it's building on something that benefits so many people.
Yeah, definitely.
So definitely up for doing more of those.
Yeah,
huge,
definitely. And let's say they were so accommodating. Like, you, not that you would ever go in and here's my rider and I demand this and I want that. That's not you, and that isn't what they are wanting either.
No.
They couldn't have gone more out of their way.
Literally.
They've done us dinner and cakes and snacks.
The full on stock in the cafe that we just had at our disposal.
Yeah, they were.
And you loved the cake, didn't you?
Okay.
How many?
We're definitely not talking about that. I don't like sponge cake, but you
liked that sponge cake. I'm sounding like such a bitch. I love it. If I like, yeah,
it was fun. Yeah, Angel Cake is my new sound.
I love it.
Tick. Terrible. Guys, I'm trying, okay?
You're succeeding.
Some nights it doesn't work for me. But bless them. Yeah, aside from me eating all their profits of didn't really.
Yeah, like
I can't believe
lovely warm dinner.
They've gone. Yeah.
Warm drinks any time of the day. Like they were so good.
Yeah. And as I say, Craig, not to harp on about it, from the discussions I had with the other girls that were behind the bar and things like that,
yeah,
like he doesn't stop.
Really?
Doesn't stop. And that's not just to, because we've met him, point him out. I'm sure there are managers of these centres everywhere. And if they are trying to put on music nights, live music nights, things like that, great.
Yeah.
Go wherever yours is local.
And absolutely.
If you can help, definitely.
We should.
It sounds like a new venture there.
Yeah,
I just want to get into.
Well, definitely.
But anyway, about the show.
Yeah.
So, new set list.
New set list. Yeah.
New songs.
Yep.
New outfit.
Oh my gosh, new outfit.
Go.
Go.
Which one do you want to, let's leave the outfit to last.
Okay, fine.
That's
crown glory.
Yeah.
Okay. The set was really fun. Like I say, it was relatively quite a short set, so sort of 10 or so songs. Well, what we get told is 45 minutes to fill approximately. So I have to kind of guess. Okay, well, at what rate am I going to play everything? Am I going to do any chat in between? All of that sort of thing. The other thing is, it was as far as I was aware, it's a new crowd. It's not a crowd coming to see Dulcima. It's a crowd that wants to support everything we've just spoken about. So, given that it's a new crowd and I'm trying to win them over or keep them engaged, there were quite a few covers, and I literally made a point of going original cover, original cover, original cover. And in that, we sat down together, didn't we? I was like, right, what order? Yeah. And you generally try and sort of shift the mood a bit and not make it not loads of slow songs in one go, because that kind of puts someone to sleep. But it worked really well. I'm now actually trying to remember the ones I did.
Well, we did Overboard, and we did
Cheer Up Child.
Cheer Up Child. Forgive me.
Yeah,
we did.
So these are my originals. Yeah.
So you started with
Shallow, which
I love.
Yeah, and actually, so in the week leading up, I was doing loads of practicing at home, and it's really funny that some like Shallow, although it is vocally a really hard song. Obviously, I've been actually singing it for ages. It didn't need anywhere near the amount of rehearsal, but it was a ballsy entrance. Is what I'm going to say there.
It's safely the sound engineer had his worked out for this is how this is going to go.
And I remember in the sound check saying, by the way, I do go really sort of breathy and quiet, but there'll be sudden flicks to it being very big, so just be aware, because that makes a difference to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, cool. So we did Shallow. Like I say, strong start, which was like, I'm going to show everyone where we're at. Like, go in,
absolutely,
all guns blazing. And then there were a couple of covers where I did put loads of hours rehearsing into them. Yeah. And one of them was The Weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Well, Kate Bush, weirdly, I'll get on to Kate Bush. That was really interesting. And then the other one was Beautiful Things. Yeah. Beautiful Things? These beautiful things. Yeah, Beautiful Things. By Benson Boone.
Before you even said anything, I was stood at back near the Santa, everyone's seated, and your husband was there. And every lyric, go and listen to it. If you don't know it, go and listen to it. Every lyric that came out, I'm just staring at your husband going, this is for you. Please realise this is for you. Yeah. And then at the end, you were like, that's my husband. I wanted to walk over and just give him a hug, and I was like, no, don't be so weird. But just how much
when rehearsing, I was thinking that. Yeah. Because I had to do a bit of gender flipping for the actual lyrics, but it did make sense. Yeah. And especially, there were some words that just made so much sense in that way. And I said, that's for you, Andrea. And I just said, thank you. Like, you didn't want to make a big gushy thing of it. You just said, thank you, Dom.
That was so nice. And I hadn't heard you sing that before.
No, exactly. What did you...
Honestly, I loved it. That was the one that made me stop and just be like, I can't believe she's doing this.
So what's funny about that is that one, along with The Weekend, Take My Breath, take my breath by the weekend. They both rely on so piano playing. They relied a lot on big booming notes, and if you get it wrong, it's very wrong. Because if you get it slightly off, like it's like boom, and you go bong, everyone can tell. So that's where I was like, okay, that's where there was a bit of pressure for those songs. But yeah, I sound checked with Beautiful Things, and it is good because it was like showed the sound engineer straight away like it's going to be very loud or very quiet, like it does a bit of both. And there is a huge advantage doing a song that got that big, that big rather, and everyone will know it. And to hear it recreated, just go on the piano kind of thing, just sing it on the piano was quite, and to hopefully pull it off, which I hope I did.
You did.
It was a full-on thing. But what was funny is quite last minute we agreed Cloudbursting by Kate Bush.
Yeah.
And so I'd left myself very little time to rehearse that. I'm going to give it away. I was going to do Bat Out of Hell. I wanted an old retro one, like an 80s one, which Bat Out of Hell I used to perform when I was really young, and I kind of like muddled through it. But that's it's officially a 7-minute song. I would have done a shorter version. But anyway, I was like, nah, I don't have time to give that one all the hours it needs. Cloudbursting, I knew it well. Again, it's one that's it's sort of resurfaced, hasn't it? It's got big again, the Kate Bush song. And there was something about a Kate Bush song, and other musicians go, oh gosh, she's such a weird songwriter. She does really weird things that are really out of like, they're not regular.
Yeah, I think,
I learnt it so fast because I clearly think, not to say I'm like Kate Bush or anything, but I do think, or maybe it's because I listened a lot growing up or something, but the things I would naturally go to do, she's done.
Yeah.
And they're like my things that I'm like, oh, that's a weird, quirky thing. But she has done it. And so I'm like, okay, that actually learnt itself really, really blooming fast. Yeah, I need to look up what that one's actually about because it sounds really, the lyrics are really odd.
Brilliant.
But
Dance Monkey, you threw in there as well.
Oh, yes.
Which is great on a piano.
Yeah, and that was the other. So that's another thing I wanted to pay attention to. When you are just doing, especially well-known covers, and Dance Monkey is a song that is purposefully very, very repetitive. So it's meant to be like a dance track that people just immediately groove to and they don't stop grooving until the end. And I was like, well, that is great when you've got a full production of a song behind you. If you're just you and a piano and you've got these keys to play with, how are you going to keep that interesting for 3 minutes?
Yeah.
So I started and I was like, I'm going to try and mask what song it is and then kind of get everyone, just sing the tune, it's killing us. And finally I actually sang it to the tune she sings.
Yes.
But before I was like grooving away in a jazzy.
No, it was very good. Very good.
And that was an interesting tactic, which maybe we could
I like that. Yeah, that worked. Yeah. It really worked. And then ended on my favourite. I love when you end on it. It's just, for me, it's so poignant.
Yeah.
The line, and go and listen to it if you don't know it, and you'll know what line I mean. It means something now.
Yeah.
When it's in your set, for me, it really means something. It really drives home. So, when you finish on
Always Remember Us.
Yeah.
Always
Incredible.
Remember Us.
Incredible.
Yeah, especially. And it's just that little extra bit of meaning for anyone who's known, and around Kent, a lot of people will have known the band and they knew me and they knew, to have ended on that. And again, like Laura says, go and listen to the lyrics if you can't think. But like, it also bookended with Lady Gaga. So it's like,
wasn't quite the plan, but it worked.
But I think of her stage performances when we're like, how do you dress up just a piano and a one body at the piano? She's done it, as did kind of Adele, but she did it more in a theatrical way.
Yes.
So I am not trying to be Lady Gaga, there's no way. But like there is clearly like influences there. But going a bit more outlandish and like making piano a feature and making the dress a feature. But it's a great one to end on. You're right. That one is. And that was a very last minute addition, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was one of those ones where it's like, well, if the time goes over, we'll just drop it.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, right, Dulcima, hurry up.
Just do it.
And I had to go over to the guy and be like, is there a curfew? No. And I was just going to tell you, keep rolling. Just play my
Just didn't do
song.
that one. Oh, that was good. But,
brilliant. Right. The dress.
Outfit. So previously on one of these episodes, I had said I recently have started thinking, I've started thinking calmer. And I think that has taken the pressure off, in a really good way, the idea of what to wear for gigs. Because that, I won't lie, has been a building pressure. And the moment there's like, oh God, what am I going to wear? Oh God, what do they expect me to wear? Oh, is that cool enough? Is that too much? Is that all of these disruptive thoughts stop me actually making? And then also, I'll put hours into making something, and then the other half of my brain will look and be like, that's crap, dolls, what are you not going to wear that? That was so stupid. This dress, from start to finish, I'm going to go a bit dressmaker-y here. I started with the most challenging part, which normally I would not do. So there was a big kind of gravity-defying bit where it kind of holds itself right up around the neckline. Very important part of the dress. Literally got to hold it up to cover the modesty. So I started with that bit and was just like, oh, I'll get fill in the edges later. I'll get to the big skirt. Don't worry too much about that. Anyway, made this very heavily boned, like steel boned corset. Had to have a big lace up at the back, cinch it right in. Big skirt. Made it out of this big thick velvet, which looked like a sort of theatre curtain velvet. It is such heavy velvet. Anyway, I was so proud of it. I put it on and thought, oh my God, I love it. Added a bit of Dulcima fraying.
Yeah.
And job's a good one. And
very the look we're going for the piano.
Yeah.
Would have suited like a pair of heels if you've seen some of the like marketing stuff we put out. Long train dress, heels at piano is the look for that kind of show.
That definitely.
Obviously not heels when you're actually playing piano.
Yeah,
it's like a secret there. But yeah,
no,
perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, perfectly. And there was a simplicity about that. Sorry, again, in the way I'm thinking, I was like, an older version of me would have thought, no, it's not interesting enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like stepping back and saying, no, it is interesting. It is still kind of, statement, chill. Like, don't keep adding stuff. Anyway.
And there is only so much you can see. You are sat behind a piano.
And that. Yeah.
So, yeah, the dress is on.
Dress is on.
The first thing you said when you sat down at the piano is you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Which went really well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Which you did repeat a few times.
I cinched myself right in, and I don't know why I did that.
Yeah.
I thought I could just breathe with the top half of my lungs, But it turns out I need all of them.
You do need all of them.
Yeah.
And then you've just made a really interesting comment there. Because the corset, and it holds itself up to protect you use the words modesty. How was your modesty, Dulce, by the end of it?
Thank God for this bit of hair, is what I have to say to that. Can I just say, though, the structuring I did was faultless. The seam allowance I gave myself was not faultless. So again, more dressmaker terms, sorry guys. But yeah, basically I'd send something far too close to the edge of the seam. That seam was this one, which goes directly here. And I think at the beginning of the show, I had sat down. I'm amazed I could even sit in that dress, to be honest. It's literally metal bands like going all the way down. It was fine, it was good. And I sat and I made a joke about the breathing thing. Oh, if only I made a dress I could breathe in. And then I kind of gave a test breathe. And I felt a pop and I thought it was here. I was like, oh, there's a bit of stitching. And I sort of looked to check I was still kind of in it. And I was. Started playing. Did the whole show. It was great. Audience with this side.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And then came off. We went downstairs to the backstage bit. Gave you a big hug. All smiles, all giggles. I think I did this. And did you notice it or did I? I think I did. I was like,
both of us kind of went.
So I sort of had to look there. And not only had a little bit ripped, like the entire thing had split.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed it wasn't. So no, I'm not, because they could see me the audience could see me from this half. And like I say, I had a load of hair covering it. But I just looked, it was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've just performed with a dress that was just.
And the best bit for me was, I was so, you've got to be reassuring in these circumstances. And that's what I'm there for. And don't worry, Dustin, no one will have seen it. You're absolutely fine. No, absolutely not. I left halfway through your last song because I had to come down the stairs, round the building, back up to meet you, torch on, be ready to get you off stage.
Yeah.
Did you stand up and bow at people?
No.
Did you? Okay, because in my head I'm like, no, absolutely fine. Gosh. And then in my head I was like, I don't know what she did. Like, how have you got up from the piano and not nip slipped the entire crowd?
Or nip revealed. I don't
So I'm
know.
really sorry
either.
to put that out there.
No, that's fine. No,
But
but
no one's told me that.
Well, no one did talk-
They've
and
got a
also-
free show.
I mean, I had to kind of double look myself, because although it was ripped, I think if I breathed in, it spread, so you could see this big line of skin. But when I breathed back out,
Yeah.
it was in again. But the photographer there did say, "Oh, it was such a shame you didn't stand up at the end. I wanted to photograph the dress, and it's normal to sort of stand and take in the glory of your show and your performance." And I scuttled off, didn't I? I did a big kind of thank you from the chair,
Okay,
from
good.
the piano stool, and then I just scurried out.
Good.
But I'm quite glad
Yeah.
I did that.
We would like to say that while the Umbrella Centre is a charity, not that, they're not looking for that. Live music sales,
Yeah,
that's the end of.
Yeah, we didn't need the created version of the show, but that was the reveal about, it was just a moment, just you and me in that backstage room. We were like, and both of us were like, I can't believe, because that must have been there from when I felt that pot. I know the feeling now.
Yeah.
Like when I.
And what I will say, because you are a professional dressmaker, let's just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
This is not. I don't want this to come across as your standard of workmanship in the slightest, because that's absolutely not fair. I do want to really draw this home. It wasn't a rushed dress, but it was. Sorry, it was. You tested yourself on, if we're going to do these shows, fairly quickly, it isn't something you have got time, like you just said, to really consider. You now have a bit more of a routine life.
Yeah.
You've got a hell of a lot going on as usual. And one of the things we are trying to draw back on is music is the passion project.
Yeah.
It isn't making us any money.
No.
You cannot afford to go and make a dress and spend hours and hours and hours and hours on it.
Yeah.
So we are trying to do this, and the dressmaking is part of that.
Yeah.
Show what have you got. You're so sustainable from doing your other materials and stuff.
Yeah.
Pull everything together.
Yeah.
Make it look good.
Yeah.
But it's never going to be a question of it not. But it doesn't get the time that anything else gets.
No.
So
that's a really good point. That is a really
I don't want it to come across that you've made a poor dress.
No.
Intentionally.
No. That is a good point. It can't have the hours that a paid job would have, like a bridal dress would have. Absolutely not. Don't worry about it.
And not even
like a proper
you
dress
usually
usually.
yeah.
No, you're right. And it's definitely. I think I'm trying to change the way I think. In that, especially in the sewing room, there's loads of materials to hand, and I'm trying to be like, right, what is within reach? Make something amazing with what you can see. Yeah. Don't think, I could use that if I could buy this, that, and this and that. Just use what you have to the highest effect, and in that you have limited amount, you have limited everything. So yeah, there's an element of skimping which I will use on myself. I never do that for a paid job, but no.
And we want the shows to be different. I'm not going to promise that no one else will ever see this dress, but the whole idea is that the set list can and will change. The piano can and will change. The outfits can and will change.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's thrown on for 45 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
And no doubt you may well see it again once it's fixed. Well,
it is fixed.
It's not going to be in that.
Yeah.
But it also, you come to these shows, you might see the dress once because then it's back in pieces upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. It gets turned into the next one. Yeah. No, that is really true. Yeah. And it's kind of, I've got to make something with just the fun factor of that show. The fun factor of that show was some simple thing that looks very effective. And like you say, after that, done and dusted, on to the next.
Yeah.
We want another fun factor for the next dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was very funny.
It was hilarious. Sorry. I was the one that ate all the cakes. You were the one that split your dress.
That was my dress.
Brilliant.
Oh,
right.
So good. Yeah.
I think the roundup of that is,
great
if
show.
you've got an umbrella or whatever it might be, but a charity event for live music, also to do a shout out, Nancy and Sky Duo were fantastic.
They were wonderful. Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like we've kind of...
we overlooked them a bit. Yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So if you see them on a bill anywhere, go and watch. But yeah, people are trying their hardest with bringing back live music because, like we said in our busking episode, the music scene is dying.
Yeah, social media is definitely the end of. Well, you've seen where music's going now. It's let's make a video viral rather than go and truly, have an impact on someone's life live.
So yeah, that's our preachy bit.
Yeah.